conversation for me. I'm a mother of a young child. I live in the city, and this conversation I had with lunch today with about 10 other women was completely about selling your house, exactly what Dan was saying, selling your house to move to the county based on the school district. And it's a struggle. And listening to both what Amy and Kay say, I mean, these are all the things that I think about, and you don't want to run away from the problem because you realize that's not the right thing to do. It's not going to accomplish anything, but you also want to provide what's best for your child. And everything that they said, I mean, it really hits home for me because this is like the situation I am as I'm looking for myself and my child, 5 years, 10 years down the road.
See, I think this is part of the problem because, when you have white and black families that move out to the county, how do you support a district? How do you make it better when you're taking middle-class families out of the situation?
It's cyclical. It feeds upon itself a little bit there, makes the situation.
Well, and it seems like, to me, kind of just based off what you were just saying, the whole core of this issue is stability. It's about stability of the education, about knowing that where you live is going to continue to provide you with the things that you need as you kind of get older, as you have kids, as you kind of change your life steps. And accreditation is supposed to provide that. It's supposed to provide a stability across the district, that the education is standard, it meets kind of what we want for our whole community. But that's obviously not the case. I mean, we're talking about magnet schools, we talk about charter schools. They're great. I'm glad that we're educating those kids in those ways and that we have those opportunities. But a parent that is going to move out of the city and send their kids somewhere else if they don't get into a magnet school, that's not good for our community. That doesn't help us.
And I think it goes beyond, I do think the accreditation I was pointed out in the Hangouts is the first step, but I think it goes beyond that. Because let's be honest, right now, if you did a survey and we're like, yeah, they got full accreditation, would you see enrollment jump? Would you see families moving back to the city? Would you see
not?
I mean, absolutely not. It goes beyond that too. And I do think there's this point that was raised on one of the Twitter posts and then just coming up is looking at schools individually, looking at performance individually. But again, it's the stigma, it's the reputation, it's everything. And you really do just strive at the end of the day for stability for your family. And we all face those challenges in life, which is like, how much do you fight towards the better good and what's better for our community? And then at the same time, looking out for your own family to make sure that they're insured with a good education. This is a struggle.
But aren't you an advocate of diversity?
Oh, absolutely.
If you move out to the county and you put your son or daughter in a school that's majority white, they're going to be one of the only kids out there.
I agree.
I think that's one of the reasons why schools today are almost as segregated as they were during Brown versus Board. Kids, black kids and Hispanic kids need to be around different groups of people.
I agree, but then you come back to that cost. There's something you've got to eat something at the end of it. It's got to. There's a cost. There's a price that you pay, and I think there's a lot of people who are willing to sacrifice the fact that my kid can understand their religion, their diversity, their uniqueness in that sense, some way else. Whether it's through church or through family, and not because they still want them to get a good school. I don't necessarily think. Personally, I just see the challenges of that as well. It's a valid point, though, because I think about that a lot as well.
And I think you brought up a good point about when parents can get involved in the school district. If you've got a school district that is performing well, but maybe one school is starting to slip a little bit, you'll have parents come out and get involved if they have faith and if they have confidence in the rest of the system.
We just had a tweet that said it should be simpler. Give schools, just like your grades, A through F. If it was simpler, would that maybe get parents involved earlier?
Yes and no. I mean, I think that's part of the charter school movement is trying to provide a way to do that. But charter schools are not the sole solution to it. You've got a lot of students then that are going to slip through the cracks if you're having schools graded A through F and you're closing down schools that aren't meeting the grade or whatnot. You can't do that as the whole district. That just doesn't work out.
Name a few charter schools in St. Louis that have been successful.
Well, we've got the international school, the language immersion school. You've got a lot of new schools that are coming up. And we talked about this a little bit earlier.
And a lot that have closed down.
Hey, look at Imagine.
A lot of them closed down. The difference there
came in and they said, we're going to outperform the St. Louis Public School District. They didn't do anything.
The difference there is community-led schools. The charter schools that are formed by people involved in this community, from this community, are going to always outperform these school systems that come in like Imagine, that are more real estate based, that are profit driven as opposed to community driven.
For the purpose of this conversation and how we measure the success of these schools, is there a better way to do it? in our public schools, in our
I just
state
think-
level to the
I
local
think
level.
honestly, the folks that you have involved in the Hangouts, you couldn't be a better combination because really, this is beyond school. You cannot sell your house, as she mentioned. I mean, this is all coming. This is a huge issue. I mean, if you have an unaccredited school or you have a poor school district, it affects how you're going to be able to sell your house, how you're going to be able to buy a house. I mean, you're going to look at families who are finding their way out through whether that's like viable means or illegal means. Claiming registry in something. It's just this is clearly beyond. It's a huge. It affects the community in a deep way, and it's
So
a
there
huge,
is no easy way to grade that.
It's
No.
just it's tough.
You'd have to put an asterisk next to the grade, say poverty, or all these different little factors that go into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.